So one of the reasons that I got into the vet space was to help vets prepare for the inevitable. One day you will not own your hospital or your practice, whether it's on your own terms, you decide you want to retire, or in the worst case, you fall ill, or in the very worst case, you pass away. What I found is because vets have never done this, it's kind of like something they don't even want to think about. But I also know that when they're in a process, they're comfortable. So when a pet comes in, there's a certain process that they go through to identify what's going on with the animal, what they need to do to help it. And they're more comfortable when they have a process of what to do. This is no different than when you're getting rid of your hospital. What's the process? I've never done it. How do I get there? How long does it take? All that. Yeah, it's always baffling to me how it is truly the only guarantee in the cycle of your business is that one day you won't own it. Yet there seems to not be a lot of preparation associated with that. I don't think it's ever too soon to start. A mentor of mine said when you start your first business, you need to immediately have your exit strategy planned so that if, again, something happens and you have to do it quickly, you just hit start. But otherwise, it helps you get there, helps you avoid the things that can make it hard to do. So I don't think it's ever too soon, as odd as it sounds. What's tough is when a vet reaches out to me who might be 70, 75 years old and now is tired and ready to move on. And there's things about the practice that we struggle with that the market may not like, and we don't have time to fix it. So I don't think it's ever too soon to start. A question that I'm asked a lot, and there's a concept of, do you want to own or do you want to be owned? Every decision you make has advantages and has compromises, right? So depending on your mentality, if you have an ownership mentality or an entrepreneurial spirit, it makes complete sense for you to be an owner of your practice. When you graduate from school, typically you have a tremendous amount of debt. There's a lot of fear in what would it take to own a business. I think the biggest challenge is no one's ever taught me as the young vet what my options are. And a big thing that we like to do is explain when you finally graduate, here are the choices that you have. Here are the advantages and compromises to each. And it's never too late to be an owner either. So you may graduate and go work for someone as a way to earn an income and get more comfortable with your procedures, etc. But a lot of times you start saying, you know what, I could do this myself, and there's a lot of opportunities for you. A lot of it is determined by what the banks require. They want to see that you have some work experience. They want to see that you've maybe saved a little bit of cash. They want to see that you've whittled your debt down a little bit. They also need to see how much you're able to produce in the practice. So if you were interested in purchasing $1 million practice, but you've never produced more than $200,000 as a vet, it might be difficult for you. So, 3 to 5 years out is kind of a sweet spot of these boxes being checked. Occasionally, right out of school, you can do it, but your situation would probably be more unique. That's probably the best question I'm ever asked. To me, it's a transition and not a transaction. Of course, when the entire process is completed, a transaction occurs. But there's an awful lot of emotion involved in it. Think about going to a place 6 days a week for 30 years and suddenly it goes away. There's all kinds of things that come up that if you don't have an advocate who truly cares about preparing you for your retirement, not only talking about what we have to do to get to the table to close the transaction, but talking about what are you going to do when you retire. Sometimes that's the hardest part, is figuring out what am I going to do when I'm not going to my practice or my hospital every day. So I think one of the things that people would say about working with DVMmatch is that we care about our clients and their interest. It's about them, it's not about us. I know this is a corny phrase, but they say, fail to plan, plan to fail. Another one you hear is working in your business or working on your business. Like anybody else, you show up on Monday and you're busy and you work all week and you just deal with your schedule and who's coming in and who you're going to see. And at the end of the week, you're exhausted. And on Sunday, you kind of take a deep breath and relax, and you rinse and repeat on Monday. You've got to take the time to have a plan and a strategy, because you can only do it once. You only do it once. And don't you want to ride off into the sunset? Don't you want your swan song to be great versus, in some cases, tragic, or in some cases just a horrible ending? Now you're sitting around and thinking, that did not go the way I thought it would, all that. So I cannot stress enough how it takes time, have a plan, and with a plan, it's a lot easier, but it's still going to be hard even with a plan.